Hey everybody, this is Claire, and this is Small Joyful Things. As always, I go to thrift sales, or go to thrift stores, and I sometimes buy things from Craigslist, or go to estate sales, and basically just try and find things that I find interesting, or I just happen to like, and then I try to find out as much as I can about them, and then I tell you guys about them. Got something quick for you today. So this, if you can see it, is what's called a tumble upset, or a bedside carafe. Basically this goes on top like that. This particular example is hand blown. You can see that the cup has a few little bubbles in it. Put that down there a sec. And we've also got one or two others. They're kind of hard to see. Yeah, there we go. Tiny little bubbles. Like the glass itself was actually remarkably clear. Very, very lovely condition. And like remarkably undamaged. Now the interesting thing is that, like, okay, first of all, how much did I pay for this? I paid $4 in the thrift store for it. I picked it up and I thought, that's a tumble upset. That's probably vintage. I want it, and ended up obviously buying it. So before we get to that, let's measure it up. And I gotta be careful now because this is a bit awkward. It's about 5 inches across, and let's say about 7.5 inches high. Just add on the cup real fast. Come on. This is kind of hard to do, and I need a better way of doing it, but yeah, well, this is where we're at. So yeah, so with the cup's about 8.25 inches, and the cup itself, and you can, it's kind of hard to see here. It's very kind of, I don't know if it's hard. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. It's a little bit kind of uneven and almost tapered. A very, very tiny amount, probably to make it easier to get in there. Now it is 3 inches across and maybe 3.25 inches high. Very nice set. And obviously this is olive green, but it's not like a very strong dark olive green. It's very, very light. Like the effect on the glass is very minimal. A lot of the stuff that I see that will be vintage that's olive green is always incredibly dark. This stuff is not. It is very, very nice. And it's very nicely made as well. Obviously it's got the little stopper there, the little spout, sorry. And that is obviously hand done as well. Basically they blew the two pieces separately, and then just, you know, little nick there in order to actually put the spout in. Very nicely made. And the thing that kind of threw me for a while about it was that, like, obviously the base is very nicely made as well, but there is almost no wear to it. There's practically nothing. It could have been made yesterday. It's in such fantastic condition. Like, for vintage pieces, a lot of time you'll see a bit, like, especially something like this, you know, if it's been moved across the table a lot, you'll see a moss ring on the base that should tell you, oh yeah, this has been around a while. This one though, it's just like, it looks like it's never been used. It's crazy. And honestly, when I picked it up out of the thrift store, I didn't even have a whole lot of dust in it. It just seemed remarkably new, which is probably why they priced it for $4. They thought, oh, you know, it's probably not old. It's kind of, it's okay. It looks kind of nice, but you know, it's got a kind of a maybe a Scandinavian feel going on to it. To be honest, I just kind of grabbed it because I thought it was amazing, and I just knew looking at it that there was a tumble upset. And they were kind of popular like around, you know, earlier in the 20th century, not so much nowadays. I did actually have another tumble upset, but that sold before I could make a video about it. That was by a it was by a Polish company. I think it was Krosno, if I remember correctly. I'll have to actually go and check because I'm just blanking on it. But that one was very nice. That was very, very lovely kind of like 1970s kind of, you know, Polish art glass. But it was something like this. It was basically this, you know, the single carafe with the cup that goes over the top, and it's made out of glass. But anyway, what exactly do we have? Take a look. here we go. What we have is a Tumble upset from the Dunbar Glass company. And I'll just get some, hopefully some images here for you. There we go, that looks that looks familiar. And they would have come in a bunch of different kind of colors. Most of the listings I found online have always been the same. It's been the same as this. It's basically this very light olive color, but they did do some slightly different shades as well. Now, Dunbar Glass was another one of our friends in West Virginia. It seems like all the best glass companies actually came out of West Virginia for some reason. So they were a glassmaking company in Dunbar, West Virginia, operating from 1913 to 1953. That is the latest that this can be, 1950s. And that kind of seems about right, to be honest. That seems like, you know, yeah, 1950s design. Like Viking glass would have been kind of getting into the Scandinavian stuff around this time as well, late 40s, early 50s. Anyway, so the Tumble upset, the bedside carafe, by Dunbar Glass Company. You can see that there's one here is listed for $47 with shipping calculated, whatever, and it has a little bit of information about it as well as some nicer pictures here. The interesting thing about this, because it has a little bit of extra info, they were produced originally in pink and green with the Tumble originally on the outside of the carafe. In later production, they changed the design and put the Tumble in the inside, and this allowed for any remaining water to drip back into the carafe. Rather ingenious. Yes, that is incredibly ingenious. Anyway, so in case you don't know what a bedside carafe actually is, okay, the idea behind these is that you'd fill them full of water and leave them on your bedside table, you know, or your bedside locker, whatever you got. And then if you woke up in the middle of the night and you were thirsty, basically you would take the cup out, and there's always only one cup, it was only meant to be for one person. You poured yourself a drink, and then, you know, you got your drink of water, and then you put the cup back on top, and went back to sleep. It was to save you, you know, you get up to have a drink of water to avoid having to do that. You know, you had your water right there instead of having to go all the way to the kitchen. And it's a lovely idea, to be honest. It's like, if that's something that you have a problem with, what a nice idea. There is actually, like, you know, someone came up with a vintage solution to this way back in the day. But anyway, this is really good because it means that this we can date this is going to be at the very latest the early 1950s, because Dunbar Glass closed in 53. I've seen people say this actually might be Depression era. I don't really know. I'm kind of, to be honest, this seems to be so nicely made that I kind of don't think it was Depression era. I don't think it's that old. I think the 1950s is going to be correct in this case. Now, a few other things here. There's a few different examples as well. Like if I scroll down, I actually might find one or the other. Here's another example of the Depression. This is an actual Depression set, and you can see the Tumble is on top of, you know, around the the spout at the top here, as opposed to being inside it when the cup goes back on. Here's another one here. Proper Depression. That actually might be uranium glass. Okay, so having said all that, what have we got for actual worth? So here's the thing. We have one that's sold here for $15 Canadian plus a ridiculous amount of shipping. But there's just almost, be careful there. There is almost nothing of Dunbar Glass actually like listed right now. It just seems to be remarkably uncommon, even though I have plenty of pictures here to say what it is. There's just, apparently people just aren't really selling it right now, which is weird. And we only have one comparable sale. I can't quite figure out exactly what it might be worth. Obviously we've got the listing here for 47. Is that gonna, yeah. Here's another one that's 48. I've seen a few listed around. I think that's actually, no, it's the same listing. I've seen a few online that would not be on eBay, just are on different, basically on other different sites. No, that's the other 48. And obviously the listings get duplicated. Because we're trying to deal with something historic, this listed historically, it's kind of hard to kind of puzzle this stuff out. Obviously people did think it's worth nice money, and especially I think when in good condition like this, it really is quite a lovely set. And you know, it's one of my favorite things. It's something that's very nice. Like, it's got a lot of style to it. It is very nicely made, and it's also quite practical. So here we go. I think it's quite nice. I don't think I'd need it myself, so I will probably put it up on eBay as soon as I can figure out what the price should be. But here we go. Anyway, this is my small joyful thing for the day. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.